Welcome to RuralVacantLand.com. This is Luke Smith, and I'm taking a moment out of my day to bring a review to the table. So, I've got a partner, a friend, a colleague, Dan Caradonna, and I want to say thank you, Dan, for investing in a bunch of the deals that we've been into over the years now, in lots of different ways. Dan has started a new website. I'll pull this website up in the background here for a sec. His new website is um, uh, this is elite360res.com, but it's also IFundLand.com. I'm going to put the website down below, IFundLand.com. And so on this website, you can do all kinds of things about getting land funded. And I want to talk about that for a second. So through our story, our ride here with a bunch of different partners and friends, not just Dan, but lots of guys. But Dan's been very instrumental in lots of the deals that I've been into, and I want to just bring a thank you and point out his new website. So over time, I just made a list here before I started this video. I mean, he's funded with me, and we've worked on rural land, like out in the middle of nowhere. I call them desert squares and stuff like that, right? We've done those. We've sold hundreds of those, or maybe thousands of those. Neighborhood lots, like the kind of lot that has utilities and a street in the front and houses next door, and you put a house in between it, kinds of properties. We've done lots of those properties. Waterfront land. I can think of a couple of them in particular, but ones on the ocean or on main bodies of water with views. Those are always fun. Sometimes they're harder to sell because they're very unique. They're like art. You know, you go look at them and talk to 5 different people, and they all have very different points of view of that art. And waterfront land is a specialty that Dan has helped me with. Farmland. We've done farmland, numerous different farmland properties. One of them in particular I'm thinking of didn't sell for maybe almost a year on the market. We were marketing the thing. We got comps. The comps were way up here, and it kept lowering the price, and nobody bought it. And we decided to put it up for auction. We put it up for auction, and it sold for like 25 or 30% more than we had it listed on the market for by taking it to auction. So talk about a creative solution on that one, and getting one of the farmland properties gone, and made good money. Every one of these deals that I've been into with Dan have made money. Dan, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure every single one of them is profitable. Maybe a couple of them just a little bit profitable, but some of them very profitable. We've been into neighborhood goes here land, like we're going to go build a new neighborhood, put in streets, put in lots of houses, and sell it to a developer. We've done fast food goes here land, like QSR, quick service restaurant. I got a diagram in the back. This is just from an old video that I made. This is like between Walmart, we got Lowe's and Walmart on either side, and we got some land in between that's like, a new building goes here. And we got a whole bunch of, the statistics of all the neighbors and the traffic and all the data. We put it all together and we go pitch it. Right after this video, I'm taking a truckload of mail to the post office. That's who goes here on these kinds of properties. And the newer data sets are all about finding tenants for these properties. And so it's been getting more sophisticated as we go through the story here, right? And Dan keeps funding deals. So some newer ones we've got going on are we've got an auction going off tomorrow, kind of like that farmland we're talking about, but there's an auction going off tomorrow if you guys are watching on Crexy.com. That's some land of Home Depot and Costco. We did all the statistics, and it looks like Home Depot and Costco are the best users of the land. They got diagrams drawn up of Home Depot and Costco with the parking parameters, and you could put both of them on the same lot in the same parking lot with utilities and access and all the rules and regulations that I can figure out, and selling it to developers who want to build a Home Depot and a Costco on the same property. Maybe they don't build that, but they build something else. If you can do a Home Depot and a Costco, you can do all kinds of other things, right? And studying the statistics of who's missing. Like there's a Lowe's, but there isn't a Home Depot. Lowe's has like 90 something percentile foot traffic, and Home Depot isn't there. Why wouldn't you put a Home Depot next to top 10 Lowe's. Like, heck yeah, man, you're going to steal some of their traffic. And Lowe's is probably going to get even more traffic by having the Home Depot next door. People are going to come from further to shop in the same spot where you have Home Depot and Lowe's. And they're both going to get better by doing stuff like that. So the land trade has gotten more sophisticated over time as we go, and Dan keeps funding. I hope to, in the future, with Dan and others, do deals where the whole shopping center, just build the whole shopping center goes here, do all the traffic, bring in all the tenants from other properties, put them all together and make it happen. We haven't done that yet, but I hope to, I aspire to, and I bet you Dan will be on board when I find the right deal and present it to him. After we did many of these deals, he doesn't have it advertised on his website, but he did finance some mailers, and I find a lot of these properties by sending out mail. I send out unsolicited mail, and it says, I'll pay you some dollar amount. I have computer algorithms, and I write the algorithms. I work on them, I improve them all the time. The more I learn, the more I improve. And I make a lot of mistakes, guys, and that's how I learn, right? But I work on those, and I make these cash offers to people, and those cash offers, they cost money, and it's the highest risk part of this business. I mean, the absolute stupid sauce of risk. 99.999% of those letters don't do anything. They go in the mail and people throw them away. It's just every now and then somebody calls back on them, and they don't yell and they don't hate, and they say, Luke, how fast can I get paid? I want the money right now. And if it's a really good looking deal, I can call Dan. Now he's got his website set up. I could go to his website, but I just call him because we've got a good history before this website and say, Dan, I got a new deal. I need some money for this one. And Dan's on board. So like he paid for some of those mailers. And so that was after we had a lot of successful deals. I don't want to start out by asking somebody to do that, but it's high risk, and give him a piece of the profits of the deals that come from those mailers. And he made, I don't know if I should talk about returns, but I think the last round he did, it was like 5 times his money or something off of that one. I'll keep the dollar sizes out of the story. And transactional funding, Dan's talking about transactional funding on his website. So transactional funding, I thought I might take a minute to explain, because I like to educate, and you guys can throw back questions at me and learn too. And I can't stand it when people just put like ABC for what they're trying to explain, because I'm always the idiot in the background that doesn't know what it stands for. So I'll try to explain this. So transactional funding is something I'm always looking for as well, because my eyes are bigger than my stomach, right? And so I look at the deal, and I don't have enough money for the deal, which is usually the case because I keep going after bigger and bigger deals. I just got a Papa John's deal. I got this Papa John's that's all set up and ready to go, and it got the building, and it's got everything. It's got all the pizza ovens, and it's got everything in it ready, right? And so it's a pretty expensive transaction. I've got the land next door and things, trying to find somebody to go build there, but the pizza shop got a contract to buy this thing, and I'm looking for a tenant. So I'm trying to get a tenant. That's what today's mail is. I'm mailing like everybody and their brother on the whole eastern half of the country that is anything relation to a pizza shop. And I'm saying, I got a pizza shop for you. The signs are already there. If you're a Papa John's, if you're somebody else, come let me know. We'll change the signs, change the color, make it ready for you. We'll work on the rents and, specific for your story, and we'll get you in there. We'll get it leased to you and make it happen. And then once I have the tenant lined up, I got to pay for the pizza shop, right, to make it all. And so then I could call Dan Caradonna or others and say, hey, I got the seller, got the price locked in, I got the tenant. All I have to do is find the buyer, but based off of the numbers of the transaction, it goes from a building to a bond or like an investment, because it's a cash flowing kind of asset. These are the numbers of things trade at. A call or two away, I could have it sold at these kinds of numbers. So here's the buy, here's the sell, and I need money to get from here to there. And Dan Caradonna is signed up to do those kinds of transactions. We've done that in smaller deals in the past, not pizza shop size deals, but land deals. And it happens a lot in the land business where you have a property and the guy wants to sell it, but maybe you don't have enough money to buy them all, or you have some outlying question like the septic. You don't know if the septic's going to work, and you find a buyer that knows the septic's going to work, and you piece it all together. Maybe you do the septic in between or something. But to get from A to B, you need money to bridge the gap. And so you can buy and sell in a short amount of time in between. And the funding from A to B, when you have both sides set up, is transactional funding. Whether it's on land or it's on a pizza shop or it's on a shopping center or something, that's transactional funding. So when you learn to use transactional funding with someone like Dan, with Dan, or someone like Dan, or a group of Dans, depending on the size of the deal, you can swing a lot bigger line. You can do a lot bigger deal. You can, it's the same thing as the small deals, but there's a lot more money to be made when you use someone else's money to do it. So there's transactional funding. Maybe I'm explaining it. Maybe I'm missing something, but I'm trying. Right? And then a lot of the deals that we do with Dan are JV funding. So that's one of the other ways we structure these is JV. And so I'll say, Dan, we got this deal and it looks like this, and I think we buy for this, and I think we sell for this, and you put up the money or some percentage of the money, and maybe I get a couple people together depending on the size of the deal, and you get some percentage of the profits and I get some percentage of the profits for making it happen. And maybe we put timelines in there, like you get paid more if it takes longer, and you get paid less if it goes faster, or negotiate out some terms depending on the deal. Dan, you have to talk to Dan about your reputation and your deal, and the potential of the deal and the risks of the deal and stuff, and come up with numbers and structure the deal accordingly. So Dan has been very creative and open-minded to all those kinds of deals, and I tested him on all those except for the shopping center ones. Dan, maybe we do shopping center next. I gotta find one first. And the nice thing about working with Dan is Dan's a person. Dan and Yvonne is his significant other. They're people. You can talk to them, and they're not a bank that refers you to a board or some ominous gray matter over there to defer negotiations. You can say, we have a problem. Here's how I suggest we fix it. Is that okay? And Dan can agree or disagree, or you can figure it out from there. And that's where a good partner comes to light, is when a problem happens. Because we have lots of good deals, but sometimes problems happen, and sometimes partners show their other face when the problem happens, and you don't always want to do another deal with that partner after you see that side of them. But Dan, we've been through a bunch of good times and rough times, and he has been a gentleman and a scholar all the way through, and I would love to do more deals with Dan in the future. So there's my recommendation for a website that's new called IFundLandcom and Dan Caradonna. Thanks for listening, guys. See you in the next one.